Welcome to the Creepy Cantina, where the spirits are high and the stories are haunting. Grab a drink, pull up a chair, and join us as we explore the darkest mysteries, eerie legends, and chilling true crimes. You never know what might be lurking in the shadows. This is the Creepy Cantina.
Hi, and welcome to the Creepy Cantina, where the drinks are chilled and the tales are even colder. I'm Anthony,
And I'm Janelle.
and each week we will explore the haunted, the horrific, and the downright bizarre. So pull up a chair, grab your favorite drink, unless you're driving, and join us. So, hello.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been a good day.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why? What makes it so good?
I don't know. I'm alive. I haven't been murdered by a serial killer.
Despite your many encounters with them.
Yeah. Did you know, as a matter of fact, that on average, everyone walks by at least 16 murderers in their life?
Murderers or serial killers?
Murderers.
I believe that.
Yeah, me too. It's just, who are they?
They look like the rest of us.
They do. They blend
or
in.
we look like the rest of you.
Yeah. Wolf in sheep's clothing, if I ever seen one.
Mm-hmm.
So, what did you do today?
Nothing. Stayed home. Did a little research.
Ooh, I like research.
My mom says that
I'm really good at projects. Speaking of moms, my mom gave me, I had asked her for the supernatural experience that I had as a kid.
Uh-huh.
And so I have that story to write out and get ready for an episode. I think it would be cool to talk about some of our personal experiences.
Yeah. We could ask my parents, too.
Yeah.
They have creepy stories.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it actually went on a lot longer than I thought it was going to, or like a lot longer than I thought it did, which was also unsettling. But I think it'll make for a good story.
Yeah.
That and what happened to our kid.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think at some point we should talk about those stories.
Okay.
Yeah.
We should plan it.
Okay. Planned. So before we get into the episode today, I always like to start with, a little something else, right? And today we're going to talk about scammers before we get into our episode. So in our sleepy little town, there was a fraud ring that was kind of broken up. And so I think this is good for us to go over so that our listeners can keep an eye out for some of the newfound ways that scammers are trying to steal from people. But what really pisses me off is that they are, taking advantage of the elderly.
Mm-hmm. It's always the older people that they take advantage of.
Mm-hmm. So if you listening to this have older people in your lives, please make sure to take care of them, keep a watchful eye on them, and make sure that people aren't taking advantage of them. Because I saw it way too many times when I was in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
It
Were
really
they
made me
sending
angry.
money to Nigeria?
One lady was sending wire transfers to her lover in Africa.
Ay, señora.
Yeah. Couldn't
Was he
talk
like
her out
an
of it.
actual lover or like they were online?
Online.
Online dating.
Online, and he was going to come over and visit her, and she was going to bring him in to prove that he was real. Spoiler alert, she never brought him in. I don't think I saw that lady again in that branch.
No, she's probably humiliated.
Mm-hmm. But you can only do so much to protect people, but you still, have to do your best, right? So anyway, here in our town on September 7th, officers responded to a disturbing case of fraud involving an elderly resident who was nearly defrauded of a significant sum of money. The victim reported receiving a phone call from an individual claiming to be a representative of her bank and that her account was compromised. After being transferred between multiple callers, She was eventually contacted by someone falsely claiming to be from the Federal Trade Commission and Better Business Bureau. The scammers also claimed to be agents from the Internal Revenue Service and the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Wow.
Yeah, they were everyone. They covered all the bases.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. The fraudulent scheme unfolded as the suspects instructed the victim to withdraw as much money as possible from her bank accounts. Over 2 separate transactions, she withdrew a total of $45,000 in cash. The suspects informed her that an undercover U.S. Marshal would meet her at a local business to retrieve the cash in a locked box. To complete the handoff, the victim was given a specific password to use during the exchange. Alerted to the situation, police officers quickly responded to the location. A detective observed a suspicious male slowly driving around the parking lot, and he was stopped for further investigation. The male suspect was later arrested in connection to this incident. A search of the suspect's vehicle revealed nearly $100,000 worth of gold and silver, which was seized under suspicion of being connected to a separate fraud case.
Oh my goodness.
I cannot pronounce his first name, but his last name is Amin, 32, of Anaheim, California. Was charged with felony exploitation of an elderly person and felony conspiracy to commit grand larceny. This investigation is ongoing and further charges are pending for all suspects involved. The police department reminds the public to remain vigilant and to report any suspicious activity, especially scams targeting vulnerable individuals. So
who reported it? Was it the lady or like her bank?
I assume it is the bank because the bank has procedures in place to detect unusual transaction activity.
Right. Someone withdrawing $45,000 when they don't normally.
Exactly. It's out of pattern.
That's weird. Yeah. Like,
and
Myrtle,
then
this isn't like you.
Right. And then they're going to ask questions. Oh, what's this for? And if there's no clear-cut answer, or if the, like, bank employees are trained to detect this kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So I would assume that it was the bank who first alerted police, or at least alerted a trusted contact person.
Yeah.
For this poor old woman.
Aww.
So yeah.
That's not nice.
Don't steal from people.
Yeah.
And leave our old people alone.
Don't be a thief. Leave old people, little kids alone.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just basic, decent humanity, right? Just don't be nasty to other people.
Poor lady. That's probably her life savings.
Uh-huh.
And they were going to take
They were going to take everything she had. For what?
No.
Yeah.
Get a job.
Yep. So that's that. So today we're going to talk about Roswell.
Ooh, a little alien story.
Yeah, I got tired of reading about people getting killed and butchered.
Yeah, it's not fun, huh? I mean, it is, but then it's not.
Like, it's a little much on the mental sometimes, right? So we're going to go to something else. We're going to switch gears, and we're going to talk about aliens. So the Roswell incident, of course, remains one of the most debated and controversial UFO cases in history due to the range of witness testimonies, conflicting reports, and alternative theories. While the official stance attributes the incident to a weather balloon, many witnesses and UFO researchers continue to believe that something more extraordinary occurred, whether that be an extraterrestrial encounter or a cover-up of a classified military project. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
So, before we get started, what do you know or what do you think happened at Roswell?
I already have my mind made up on Roswell.
Yeah? What's that?
It was aliens, and the government tried to cover it up with their stupid balloon thing, which is, do they think we're fucking pansies? Like, no. Nobody believes that shit.
How do I put this? Think the government thinks we're idiots.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like in Men in Black. When Will Smith was meeting Tommy Lee Jones for not the first time, but during their initial encounters. And he said, Will Smith said to Tommy Lee Jones, why don't we just tell people the truth? They can handle it. And he said something to the effect of, a person is smart, a person is intelligent. but people are dumb and ignorant and unpredictable, or whatever, however he used to describe it, wasn't great. And I think that's what our government thinks of us. I think that they think that we're idiots, and that we can't handle the truth. When in fact, the more you try to cover up the truth, the more we know you're lying.
Yeah, because then it just comes out later and we're like,
we already knew
it.
Yeah. Like when did they did like a reveal of like a bunch of documents that they released or whatever.
Yeah, they finally released a bunch of documents, and so it came out obviously about aliens, that yes, they've been around for a long time. I think it said they'd made contact with them at various points. What else did they have? The U.S. government has been involved in like coups in other countries.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like,
but it's like,
we knew it.
Yeah.
You just confirmed it, but that just pisses everyone off more.
It's like, we don't care now. Like, lower egg prices. Like,
I want my $2 dozen of eggs.
Yes. Why am I paying $15 for a carton of eggs? This is bullshit.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was.
It pissed me off like nothing else.
Like, no one gives a fuck about your stupid aliens right now. We want eggs.
Like, we know, we're hoping they'll come and save us. Until then,
do they have eggs? So
I do love eggs, though.
I know you do. You put eggs in everything. So we're gonna start with talking about William Mac Brazel, who was the person who discovered the wreckage to begin with. So Mac Brazel, as he was known, whose full name was William Mac Brazel, was a rancher who lived in New Mexico and became an unwitting key figure in the Roswell incident of 1947. He was a relatively private, no-nonsense person, known for his hard-working and practical nature, like many ranchers of his time. Brazel managed the Foster Ranch, which was a large sheep ranch located about 75 miles north of Roswell, New Mexico. His job involved the day-to-day maintenance of the ranch, including caring for livestock, repairing fences, and other typical ranching activities. By most accounts, Brazel was an unassuming, modest, and straightforward man. He was described as a simple rancher with little interest in publicity or attention. He was pragmatic and skeptical, with little patience for nonsense, which is reflected in how he initially reacted to finding the strange debris on his ranch. Brazel lived a quiet life with his family. He was concerned primarily with the practical aspects of ranching and providing for his household. So he was just a normal American guy, just trying to work hard, provide for his family.
Yeah.
You know,
He's like, just leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah.
Let me work. I'll leave you alone.
Exactly. So the wreckage that Mac found on his ranch in July 1947 was composed of a range of strange materials that sparked the initial rumors about a UFO crash near Roswell. His immediate concern was that it might be a downed aircraft or something else that needed to be reported. He collected some of the debris and traveled to Roswell, where he reported his findings to the local sheriff, George Wilcox. He was reportedly puzzled and somewhat troubled by this strange material, especially the metallic pieces that did not behave like any material he was familiar with. And being a rancher, he was probably familiar with a lot of different
kinds of material.
Yeah. It was also reported that the sheep on the ranch refused to cross the debris field. I find that odd.
Animals know. They have a have a sense.
So let's talk a little bit about the debris and what was found. So there was metallic material, which were pieces of lightweight, thin metallic structure that appeared aluminum or tinfoil, but were exceptionally strong. Some witnesses reported that this material could not be bent, torn, or dented, and would return to its original shape after being crumpled, a property that seemed almost memory-like. So you know how like memory foam, like if you lay down and then you get up, it just kind of
goes
back to its original form. That's kind of what they're describing.
Yeah, I imagine like a piece of aluminum foil, but it doesn't stay crumpled. It just pops back up
out into place, which would be very weird. Also among the wreckage were I-beam structures, which were small beams or I-beams that were also inscribed with strange hieroglyphic-like symbols. These beams were reportedly lightweight yet strong and bore markings that witnesses later described as resembling violet or pinkish writing that didn't match any known language. Interesting.
Muy interesting.
Yeah. Then there was this rubber-like material. Parts of the debris were described as a rubber-like material, which seemed similar to that used in weather balloons. This material was also tough but flexible. There was also foil-like material that resembled foil-like material that was not metallic but seemed similar to modern mylar. Do you know what mylar is?
No.
Okay, so mylar are these. It's a brand name for polyester film that is strong, transparent, reflective, and is also resistant to gases and moisture. It's used in food packaging, electrical work, and has other uses. And it was around in the 40s, but it was trademarked in the 50s by the DuPont Corporation. So these pieces of mylar-like material were light and reflective. So all of this, with the exception of the I-beams, seems like it could come from a weather balloon or something like that, right? Just on paper. But then there were also wooden and paper elements. Brazel noted that some parts appeared to be made of wood and paper-like material, suggesting conventional construction, though this was in contrast with the more unusual materials. So I would imagine, being a rancher, working with sheep, fixing fences, you have some, being around this ranch for years and years, you have some idea of what's around there and what should be normal and what it wouldn't be normal. So his first instinct was to be a good patriot and take this material to the local law enforcement office in case it needed to be reported.
Yeah.
But then what happened after that, after these materials were discovered, the military and their reaction is what really kind of set off alarms in the general public. So Brazel brought some of the debris to the local sheriff in Roswell, who contacted the Roswell Army Airfield. The military then quickly took possession of the debris and began an investigation. They dispatched Major Jesse Marcel, an intelligence officer, to investigate, and Marcel, along with the counterintelligence officer Captain Sheridan Cavett, visited the debris site on Brazel's ranch. They collected materials which included metallic foil, rubber strips, and other strange debris, and brought them back to Roswell Base for examination. On July 8th, 1947, the RAAF issued a press release stating that they had recovered a flying disc from the crash site. This announcement was unprecedented and immediately captured the media's attention, generating headlines worldwide. Less than 24 hours later, the military retracted the initial statement and claimed that the debris was from a weather balloon, not a flying saucer. Brigadier General Roger Ramey, the commanding officer of the 8th Air Force in Fort Worth, ordered that the debris be flown to Fort Worth for further examination. Some of the debris was also claimed to have been sent to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio. Once there, General Ramey held a press conference and displayed debris that he claimed was from a downed weather balloon, specifically a radar target attached to a balloon. That's weird. Why'd you say it was a flying saucer and then you said it wasn't?
And then you're like, just kidding.
Actually,
we looked at it. It's a weather balloon.
Yeah. And you needed to bring it to the Air Force Base in Fort Worth to determine that it was an Air Force.
Yeah.
It was a weather balloon. Your people that were in New Mexico couldn't determine that?
Yeah, they couldn't figure that out.
Weird.
Seems a little much.
Seems suspicious. So photographs taken at this event showed Ramey and Marcel with materials. Oh, and we're going to talk about Wright-Patterson Airfield too. Don't you worry. So Ramey and Marcel were shown with in photographs with the materials that appeared mundane and not at all like the initial descriptions of the strange wreckage. So they really thought they were just going to hide the other stuff and then bring out a broken down weather balloon. This is it.
This is the one.
Just a weather balloon, guys.
They're like, don't look behind me. Look at this one.
Look right here. My eyes are here. So, right, airfield, right? So had it not been for the fact that pieces of the debris were sent to Wright Airfield in Ohio, or Wright Field as it was known at the time, this explanation may have been more believable. But Wright Field holds particular significance in this case for a number of reasons. First and foremost, it was home of the Air Technical Intelligence Center, the ATIC, and in 1947, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, which was then known as Wright Field, was home of the ATIC, which was responsible for analyzing foreign technology and any unidentified aerial phenomena. Why did they send a weather balloon to be examined by the ATIC if they knew it was a weather balloon?
Yeah.
That don't make no sense to me.
They would send material from like a flying saucer there.
But there was no flying saucer.
Right. It was a weather balloon.
Yeah.
So that doesn't make sense.
So.
Round them up, boys.
Yep. The ATIC's mandate was to evaluate any foreign or unknown materials to determine their purpose, function, and potential threat to national security. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is also famous in UFO lore for allegedly being the site of Hangar 18, which is a rumored secure facility where the U.S. government supposedly stored recovered UFO materials, including possible extraterrestrial artifacts or even bodies.
The real Area 51.
They want us to think that it's in Nevada to throw us off.
Yeah, so everyone will go over there. Why the fuck would they tell us it's out here?
Yeah, like, oh, guys, don't come to our super secret hideout.
Yeah. Don't look over here. Exactly. Don't look behind me. Look right here.
It's right here, guys. Don't come over here. Don't come any close. Do you remember when people were talking about raiding Area 51? Yeah. Were we just so bored as a country at that point?
I think so. And then a lot of people actually went.
Yeah.
I don't think they did anything.
No. And then, like, I remember seeing on social media where, like, soldiers who were out there were, like, having to go to this dumbass meeting because people are talking about raiding Area 51. Oh, man. I wonder what they would have actually, like, those people would have been mowed down.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. Just a bunch of civilians fucking running at Area 51.
Kids. It was like kids just being bored. Talking about having a rave out there or something.
Jesus.
And then, yeah. Some people did go, but they didn't do anything.
Yeah.
They just took pictures and came back like kids do.
But they took it very seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they have to, right?
Yeah, it's so stupid.
It is stupid. I don't know.
Imagine they bring back a little body of an alien.
Like, we told you.
The size of my hand.
A little infant alien.
A fairy.
So, yeah, many believe that if any extraterrestrial materials or bodies were recovered from Roswell, they would have been sent to Wright-Patterson for secure storage and study. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base later became the headquarters for Project Blue Book from 1952 to 1969, which was the U.S. Air Force's official study of UFOs and unexplained aerial phenomena. Although Project Blue Book came several years after the Roswell incident, its predecessor programs, Project Sign, which was from 1947 to 1949, and Project Grudge from 49 to 51, which I'm also going to cover Project Grudge.
Oh, yeah?
I might just do it on school because I don't know if it's going to be worth an entire episode. There's another story, too. It's like Lovett and I can't remember the other person's name who were allegedly abducted by aliens, but I don't know if there's enough for a full episode, but I am going to cover those things.
Okay.
But anyway, those two projects were also based at Wright-Patterson. These projects involved collecting, analyzing, and debunking UFO sightings and incidents. This history further solidifies Wright-Patterson's role as a central location for analyzing anything related to UFOs or unexplained phenomena. So that's why I say, like, had it not been for the fact that they sent stuff to Ohio, maybe the weather balloon story could have eventually been accepted.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's believed that that they sent material there, and the significance that it holds at that particular base around this entire subject, leads one to believe that it was not a weather balloon.
It was indeed not a weather balloon.
Nope. It was not. So, the military took immediate steps to contain and control the narrative surrounding the Roswell incident. They reportedly took Mac Brazel into custody for several days.
What?
Mm-hmm.
For what?
During which...
Tending to his fucking ranch?
Yeah.
These motherfuckers.
Apparently that's a crime these days.
Don't you fucking do it, they said.
Yeah. So during this time, he was allegedly persuaded or coerced to revise his statements about what he had found. Additionally, the RAAF personnel were instructed not to speak to the press or public about the event, and those who were directly involved in the recovery or investigation of the debris were also reportedly sworn to secrecy. Why all the secrets about a weather balloon?
Yeah. Like, why would they need to do all of that if it was a weather balloon?
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't.
It just don't sit right with me.
Do you know who does that? People who are guilty of keeping secrets.
But secretly, they don't want you to know their secret.
They're secrets.
Because it's a secret.
We should make a rule that there are no secrets in America.
I don't think that'll go over well. At all. All right. So, in 1994, almost 50 years later, in response to public pressure and a request from Congressman Stephen Schiff of New Mexico, the U.S. Air Force released a report stating that the debris recovered at Roswell was actually from Project Mogul, which was a top-secret program that involved launching high-altitude balloons to detect Soviet nuclear tests. The balloons were equipped with special radar reflectors and sensors, which could account for the unusual materials described by witnesses. This would have been a plausible explanation at the time because the Cold War was ending or just ended right around this time as well.
Yeah.
So there was, a big to-do about the Soviet Union at that time. But this story contradicts the story of the weather balloon that was released to the public decades earlier.
Yeah. Why all the secrets, guys?
Why does the story keep changing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If our kids came to us, if we asked them a question, what did you do last night? If we weren't here, right? What did you do last night? Oh, well, we just played video games and ate chocolate and then we went to bed. And then we're like, well, that doesn't make sense because there's beer bottles everywhere. Mm-hmm. Well, actually, we had friends over and they brought the beer, but we didn't drink any.
Yeah.
Okay.
We just let them have it here.
So then why didn't you wake up until 4 o'clock in the afternoon and you were throwing up all morning?
Yeah.
Right. Oh, well, it's because I ate some bread and I'm gluten intolerant.
Food poisoning.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No one's going to believe that.
And or then 2 weeks later, actually,
here's what really happened.
We really had a couple beers, just 2.
Yeah.
But that's all.
That's it. The other 16 beers you saw on the table were our friends.
Yeah. And then I'm done.
Or if a criminal, if somebody was under investigation and first and the episode we talked about the Black Dahlia, right? Mm-hmm. Where the guy said that they got 2 rooms and then, they only got 1 room.
1 room.
Oh, but he stayed in the car.
Yeah.
But then why were there 2 rooms at first?
Yes.
Right?
Where did the 2 room...
Why did you say that?
Why did the original lie even happen?
Exactly. So it's the more you lie, the more I think you're lying.
Suspicious it looks.
Yes.
Why does your story keep changing?
Mm-hmm.
Just stick to the one.
Yes. So that's that. So now in 97, they released a follow-up report. And in this follow-up report, they addressed the claims of alien bodies being recovered from the crash site. The report concluded that these were likely crash test dummies in high-altitude experiments conducted in the 50s, although this explanation did not align well with the 1947 timeline. This report was widely criticized and perceived by many as another attempt to dismiss the possibility of an extraterrestrial encounter, which is what I believe.
Yeah, me too.
So, couple things here. There was a lot, of course, there was a lot of cover-ups being, thrown out there, a lot of disinformation that was being put out there. And there's multiple theories surrounding the military and government and their involvement in this case. So many believe that the powers that be attempted, terribly so, to cover up what truly happened at Roswell. So the first thing we're going to look at here is this weather balloon story. So we already discussed, right, how quickly RAF retracted their flying saucer story in exchange for the weather balloon story. At a press conference in Fort Worth, General Ramey and Major Marcel displayed the debris, yada, yada, yada. Photos were taken, and the military insisted that the debris was from a weather balloon used for meteorological purposes, and the incident was dismissed as a misunderstanding. But several witnesses, including Major Jesse Marcel, who handled the debris, described materials that did not resemble any known weather balloon components. Marcel and others spoke of lightweight metallic materials that were extraordinarily tough, foil-like materials that could not be permanently creased or bent, and I-beams with strange hieroglyphic-like symbols. These descriptions seemed inconsistent with the materials shown in the press conference photos, which appeared to be ordinary foil and some sticks from a radar target. They just went outside.
They didn't even fucking try.
No, they're like, this'll do. This is what we found.
A handful of grass. They're like, yup.
It's like, remember when Annabelle was trying to give a stick to our sister's kid?
The baby.
Yeah. He's like, here you go.
The puniest little stick. You want this? I'm like, no, he's not gonna fucking take that
it's
stick.
still fucking stick.
The kid's like, real sticks, big ones. Like, get him a good one.
Yeah,
like he comes out holding this big ass stick.
Yes, make it believable. Like show me some effort.
Yes, put some effort into it. Jeez.
Yeah. So the military's immediate and aggressive response to secure the crash site, confiscate debris, and control information raised further suspicions. The secrecy surrounding the incident led many to believe there was more to the story than the official suggestion. There's even stories where they were talking about the military had like cut off access and traffic to that area while they were investigating and pulling stuff up.
Serious.
It was it was super serious.
Nobody comes over here.
Yep. So the military's explanation that the debris was from a weather balloon lacked clear documented evidence. In 1994, the U.S. Air Force issued a report claiming the debris was from Project Mogul, and then a classified program involving high-altitude balloons to detect Soviet nuclear tests, right? However, even this explanation was met with skepticism. Skepticism.
Who's the Mexican here?
I'm Mexican because my daughter's Mexican.
That's true.
Exactly. So
you get it from your wife.
Right. So records for Project Mogul Flight Number 4, which was the flight supposedly responsible for the Roswell debris, were incomplete and or missing. The Air Force's shifting narratives and lack of transparent documentation led to accusations of a cover-up. Now, there is also a website that has taken the image of Mr. Ramey when he was holding the weather balloon, and he's holding a piece of paper, and I don't think he realized that the piece of paper was facing with the text outwards, right? So now what this website has done, and I'm going to post a link to this in school so that people can make their own determinations, right? They blew it up, and there was text there and phrases that they pulled out from this document that he's holding face out that says things such as, a disc is next new find, You had ordered the victims and or the wreckage forwarded to Fort Worth. If they were crash dummies, they weren't victims.
They weren't victims.
Right.
They'd be crash dummies.
Exactly. So the link will be in school for people to make their own assumptions. Mm-hmm. But I've done the research so that you guys don't have to, and you can just go there and tell us what you think.
Click around.
Yeah. So now, with that in mind, let's talk about some notable witness accounts as well. So, Colonel DuBose, who was the chief of staff of the 8th Air Force that we talked about earlier, was present when the debris was flown to Fort Worth, Texas, where Brigadier General Roger Ramey announced the weather balloon story. Years later, DuBose confirmed that there was a deliberate effort to change the original story about the debris. He admitted that he was ordered by higher-ups to downplay the significance of the event and support the weather balloon narrative. Then there was another man, Walter Haut, who was the public information officer. He was the officer who wrote the original press release stating that a flying disc had been recovered. In later years, he stated that he had been pressured to issue the weather balloon story and implied that the real nature of the debris was much more extraordinary.
Of course, big guy.
Get this. Before his death, Haut signed an affidavit in which he claimed he had seen alien bodies at the base and was aware of a cover-up.
Yep.
And guess what?
What?
I have the affidavit. I do.
Let me see.
Well, I don't have it on me. It's in school. You will be free to go and look as soon as we release the bonus content.
That's why I have you. You're going to pull it up for me later.
Sure. All right. I'll do that. So all of that will be in school. So I already know what you think. And I already knew what I thought before I even read this.
What did you think before you even read this?
That it was a cover-up, obviously. You
didn't believe
the government? I didn't believe the government was telling me the truth about something that they kept changing their story about.
They wouldn't lie to us, babe.
That's true. The government wouldn't lie.
Yeah.
So maybe I should have believed. But now we've got this affidavit. And
that says we shouldn't believe.
So I'm curious to think, or not think, I know what I think, but I'm curious as to what our listeners think about this story. You know, of course, Roswell is a world famous event. We are going to have to go to New Mexico at some point.
Oh, we should go to Skinwalker Ranch. That'd be so
We should
fun.
go to Skinwalker Ranch. Let's do both. I mean, they're in opposite directions, but
it's close by, no?
No, Skinwalker Ranch is in Utah, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, like, wouldn't we have to go?
Yeah, they're not, like, close.
We're not going to do them together.
I'm saying it's close to us.
Yeah. So, yeah, let's go to Skinwalker Ranch if they'll have us. Do they allow people there?
Last I heard, I think they were.
Okay.
I don't know now.
I guess we'll find out.
But we could take Annabelle and Candy.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm down. So, yeah, curious to think. Why do I keep saying curious to think?
I don't know. Why do you? Like, you better be lucky.
Yeah.
No, you better be lucky, motherfucker. That's not a thing.
I'm lucky already. Yeah, so I'm curious as to what our listeners think about this story. Of course, it is a world famous story, and it has had lots of coverage. There's no universe that exists in which I will ever believe that the government had told us the truth about whether or not aliens have visited us until recently when they admitted it, right?
Yeah.
But before that, I would not have believed it.
No, they just doubled down on their lies.
There are more witness accounts. There's more documentation for extraterrestrial life than there is for events in the Bible. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, and we're supposed to take that at face value, right, and have faith, but we shouldn't believe that aliens exist. No, because that's going to destroy, the what do I want to call it? It'll destroy the foundation of some people's faith. Yeah. If there's other life forms and we're not the only ones.
But like aliens have visited like military bases that have like
nuclear weapons.
Yes.
Shut them
and
down.
Shut them off.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're like, no.
Yeah.
And then they go to shoot them, and then they send their shit right back.
Yeah, like stop it.
They're like, stop. Mija. Like, what do you mean?
Agarra, mija.
They're like, ya cálmate.
So yeah. So we're gonna cover a lot more alien stuff because
that was fun.
Yeah, I love talking about this topic. We'll get on to another demonic possession at some point too, but aliens, that's my shit. So I think that's it. I think that's all I got for this episode. Got anything you want to add?
No. I think we covered everything.
Okay.
And if we didn't, just ask us in school.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
Just come to school. I don't know if it's going to be free by the time this episode comes out. It might still be. But yeah, school is where you'll find us, where you'll find our community, where you'll find all of the bonus content that we put together for each one of these episodes, including audio files, affidavits from public information officers, and our research notes. So feel free to come check us out. And other than that, we will see you guys in the next episode.
Yep.
Keep it creepy.
Bye.
Bye.